Hi, everyone. It's good to have you with us here at 4. I'm Jane McCarthy.
And I'm Tom Sherry. Well, there are new developments in the homicide investigation in North Spokane. 28-year-old Joseph W. Scheel is charged with first-degree murder.
Spokane County Sheriff's deputies were following up on a welfare check at the Beau Rivage Apartments on East Upriver Drive yesterday. When they entered the apartment, they discovered a woman was dead. Scheel was also in the apartment at the time. Now, this is an ongoing investigation, and we'll keep tabs on the situation. We'll bring you the latest information here as well as on KREM.com. In January of last year, we learned about plans to build a food hall in downtown Spokane. Since then, many of you have asked for an update on the Spokane Central Market.
KREM 2's Amanda Rowley shares what we know so far, along with what business may be going in there.
The ground floor of the Umpqua Bank building is being turned into a food hall here in downtown Spokane with about 14 different places to eat. Now, the Interurban Development website says it should be completed by fall last year, but construction here is still underway. Developers declined to comment on the status of the project, but here's what we know so far. Developers want to model Spokane Central Market after Pine Street Market in Portland, which opened in April 2016. Plans filed with the city of Spokane show the market could include a variety of businesses, including a donut shop, coffee vendor, burger joint, and the Vault Lounge. Recently added to the developer's website is this virtual tour of what the food hall could look like when construction is complete. Looking around, you can see open seating options with a mix of different food vendors. New documents filed with the city show one business is approved for remodeling an existing shelf space at the same address. Sweet Annie's Ice Cream confirmed with us they are in fact one of the 14 tenants going into the food hall. According to Sweet Annie's website, the Artisan Creamery only uses the highest quality grass-fed, organic milk and cream from happy cows. Annie, the owner, spent time in New York as a graphic artist. She returned home to the Northwest and started Sweet Annie's, sourcing from local vendors. Still no word on when Spokane Central Market will be ready to open, but developers say they expect to have an update in the next few weeks. Amanda Rowley, KREM 2 News.
Well, as you know, most schools in our area are on spring break, but we'll see the big yellow buses on the road again next week. Good reminder for our Idaho drivers to stop for those buses because the fine in Idaho just went up.
Governor Brad Little signed a new law that boosts the fine for a first-time offense from $100 to $200. The fines only go up from there. Supporters of the bill say it's a necessary price hike to keep children safe.
Now, some of the money collected from the fines will be used to install cameras on school buses, and that way police can identify drivers who ignore the stop sign.
Well, if your morning commute takes you on the eastbound lanes of I-90, keep a sharp eye out for these guys. Crews working on the Hamilton off-ramp now. Today, they replaced the guardrail there.
So as of now, the project is not blocking any lanes, just the shoulder area, but leaders with WashDOT are asking drivers to move over and give this crew some space to work and also increase safety measures. And we are just a few weeks away from the start of wildfire season. The National Park Service is encouraging people to prepare now.
Yeah, we all know the inland Northwest, no stranger to wildfire season and its smoke. We tend to experience heavy smoke and fires during the summer months. For the last 3 years, August and September, you might remember, have been filled with smoke from fires here. So if you did have trouble breathing, maybe even if not, leaders at Washington Emergency Management say it's a good idea to invest in a good mask. The agency recommends buying an N5 or N99 mask and buy them now because those masks tend to sell out when the wildfire season starts.
Our big wildfire seasons our new normal in Washington state. The unfortunate reality is that right now on the trajectory we are on without action, I unfortunately have to say the answer is yes.
Well, we hate to hear that may be the new normal. Commissioner of Public Lands Hillary Franz testified before the state Senate asking for funding to create wildfire prevention and suppression account. More than $62 million would provide new helicopters and better equipment along with more wildland firefighters and the training they need.
The money would come from an increase in the tax on premiums for property and casualty insurance. On average, that would be $2 a month per household. Well, we had a rainy day yesterday. It was coming down really hard at times. Looks like we've gotten a quick break across most of the area, but what's next?
Well, it looks like more rain will move in again overnight and will continue through Friday. Following on over here, 55 degrees. That's the current temperature here in Spokane. Winds are calm, as you can see, and the barometric pressure now beginning to fall. That's because a low pressure system is headed our way. So over the next 12 hours, you'll see increasing clouds, and then the computer modeling is suggesting in the overnight hours, that's when we'll begin to see that rain develop across the Spokane, well, actually the entire areas of the inland northwest. So overnight lows dropping down to 42, the rain developing overnight, continued rain with isolated thunderstorms at times. Tomorrow we'll look for a daytime high of 59, always looking forward to the weekend. So for the weekend weather right now, I think we'd see mostly cloudy skies, may see some rain, most likely now late in the day, and a high of 57. Better chance of rain and gusty winds on Sunday. We'll look for a daytime high of 58 degrees, and it looks like much of next week is going to be wet as well. I'll check your 7-day forecast in just a few moments.
Thank you, Tom. Well, people across the country have been anxiously awaiting DNA results in the Timothy Pitson case. FBI agents in Kentucky verified the man who was claiming to be Pitson is not him. Whitney Ward is in the newsroom with more on who the imposter actually is. Whitney?
Yeah, good afternoon. This story we know has captured a lot of national attention. People in Newport, Kentucky saw a teenage boy running towards them, and when he got closer, he asked for help and told them he was being held against his will. He also said his name was Timothy Pitson. We now know that DNA results do not match up, and just within the last hour, police say the boy is actually a man in his 20s named Brian Reaney of Medina, Idaho. Now, if you look at his background, you can actually see a lengthy criminal history. He most recently served time for burglary and vandalism. He was just released from an Ohio State prison a few weeks ago. So the man claimed he had escaped from 2 kidnappers that he said had been holding him hostage for 7 years. Now, Timothy Pitson disappeared almost 8 years ago at the age of 6. So at first the timeline seemed to match up, but again, we are now learning the real Timothy is still missing. A lot of people were skeptical from the very beginning. Others, of course, were holding out hope that Timothy's mystery might finally be solved. Family members say this actually isn't the first time something like this has happened. There have been people in the past who come forward trying to claim any reward money for the case. Still, though, no word on why this man made up such a terrible story. Today, FBI agents stressed that law enforcement has not and will not forget Timothy. In a tweet, the Louisville agents wrote, "We hope to one day reunite him with his family." Unfortunately, they say that day will not be today. Now, again, Timothy's family has said in the past there have been multiple tips and claims that came forward over the years, so they had tried not to get their hopes up with this latest sighting, but understandably a very disappointing and heartbreaking development for them tonight. Jane, Tom.
So very sad. Whitney, thank you very much.
Well, there are new details now in the investigation into last month's Ethiopian air crash. A preliminary report was released just today, and there were 4 findings in that report. First, the aircraft did receive a certificate of airworthiness. Second, the crew had a license to safely fly. Third, the initial takeoff was normal. And finally, the crew on board performed all the procedures from Boeing, but still could not control the jet.
The crash last month prompted a worldwide grounding of Boeing 737 MAX 8 jets. It was the second crash of that kind of jet within the past 5 months. The first was the Lion Air jet that crashed in Indonesia. Ethiopia's transportation minister is now telling Boeing to review its aircraft controlling system. Right now, Boeing is working to roll out new software to fix the glitch in the anti-stall system. The FAA and regulators must approve that fix first.
Well, activists in Spokane are planning to join a nationwide protest today. They are demanding the Attorney General release the full Mueller report. Mark
Hanrahan joins us now in the studio with more on why they want access to the document. Mark?
Yes, good afternoon, guys. Democratic leaders are fighting for access to the nearly 400-page report from Special Counsel Robert Mueller's Russia investigation. And demonstrators here are calling for its release as well. Just yesterday, the House Judiciary Committee voted to authorize subpoenas for the full release of the Mueller report, but Republican leaders are pushing back, saying Attorney General William Barr has provided as much information as he can. Keep in mind, the deadline for Barr to release the results of the investigation has passed. So far, he's only released his summary of the report. Barr has said he would release the full report by mid-April, but with redactions. However, committee chairman Jerry Nadler says Congress must see everything and can then decide what can be redacted for public release. Meantime, here in Spokane, the protest is scheduled to start in about an hour. And coming up on our 5 o'clock newscast, we'll hear from some of those demonstrators on why they are joining in on that rally. For now, guys, we'll send it back to you.
All right, Mark, thank you. One Oregon man is on a mission to fight childhood cancer, and it all started with a Facebook post. Benjamin Elliott plans to raise money by biking from Eugene, Oregon to Arizona. A 10-year-old boy who lives there inspired his journey.
Nico Polito is battling an inoperable brain tumor. His mom posts video updates on Facebook, and it caught Elliott's attention. The Oregon man reached out to the family and recently flew to Arizona to surprise the 10-year-old. Well, now Elliott is biking for Nico in a national event called the Great Cycle Challenge.
My hope to bring awareness to his story and, like I said, childhood cancer as a whole, but to really show people that doing even the simplest deed really can make a difference in somebody's life.
And Nico's story hits close to home. Elliott's dad died from pancreatic cancer back in January. He says the new friendship with Nico's family fills some of that void. The 1,200-mile bike ride is scheduled for June.